Welcome to Rewatch and Rank. On this channel, we rewatch older TV shows, provide a summary and opinion on the episode before ranking each episode against each other, and today's episode is One Punch Man Ova, Episode 6, The Sisters Who Have Too Many Things Happening. Episode in a nutshell is just a brief reminder of what happened in this episode. So we begin with Fubuki and her group defeating a shrimp-type monster in the rain, and then the next day when they're expecting to be mentioned in the newspaper, it's instead taken up with the Sea King that Saitama defeated and all of the kind of notes on the various heroes that participated in that event. And she gets upset by this and ends up leaving their headquarters and getting on a train. After she leaves, it's explained to one of the other members of the group that she is somewhat insecure because her sister always gets kind of the recognition. Meanwhile, she's doing the work of a B-class hero, doing all the work of a hero, but isn't actually succeeding in the way that she wants to with her name in the newspapers and such. So, while on this train, Genos arrives with some boxes filled with crabs that he puts down, and he sits across from her, recognizing her as a fellow hero. And as they're on the train, he gets a call that there is a bomb on the train and it is set to go off when they reach Z City's station. And so he decides to obviously get rid of the bomb. He tells Fubuki to help get the passengers off of the train, and there's also a little C-class hero named Swim on there who is going to try to locate where the bomb is while Fubuki gets the passengers off, and then Genos tries to slow down the train. Fubuki manages to get all of the other passengers off of the train and notices as she does so that the train hasn't slowed down at all. We see Genos trying his best to slow down the train. Meanwhile, Swim finds the bomb and Fubuki sends her off the train before thinking about how she's going to be able to try to contain the bomb explosion to have the fewest amount of casualties possible using her Esper abilities. But that's when Tatsumaki, who she's been having this inferiority complex to, arrives and basically sends Fubuki off the train, removes Genos from the front, and then sends the train up into the sky to where it gets crumpled together, the bomb goes off, and then, into nothing. Tatsumaki then tells Fubuki, what were you thinking? This was beyond your capability, essentially. And Fubuki just kind of humps and off she goes, once again demoralized, feeling like she'll never live up to her sister, feeling like once again she's not going to be recognized for the effort that she put in. However, that's when Swim arrives and basically asks that when she gets up to B class, can she join her group, because she's grown to admire Fubuki from seeing her working hard and trying to save everybody on the train. And Fubuki basically agrees that if she makes it up to B class, she can be in her group, and that kind of lifts her spirits. Meanwhile, Genos goes to Dr. Kusano and basically says that he has speed and power and, technology, but what he needs are psychic abilities. And Dr. Kusano apologizes, but that's outside of his wheelhouse. And Janos makes a comment on failing to do the groceries because he lost the crabs, and if he'd had psychic abilities, the crabs wouldn't have exploded. And then we see Saitama just sitting at the dinner table with the hot pot going, wondering why Genos is late. So that was our episode in a nutshell, and now we're going to rank the episode, and as always, we'll rank on the mostly objective ranking list, which is void emotion, but bias and judgment can still apply, and then the personal ranking list where the emotion comes into play. So in this episode, we had actually a couple things apply, and I highlighted those I felt applied. So first we had our single episode supporting character introductions. And one is the serial bomber who actually was an A rank hero who was ousted. Um, and he's the one who set the bomb. And then we have Swim, who is a C class hero who had been thinking about quitting but was re-inspired by Fubuki and wants to now make it to B class to become part of Fubuki's group. And they're each worth 1 point, bringing us to 2. And then I felt that we did have some multi-season supporting character growth. In the case of Fubuki, how she starts very demoralized, feeling overshadowed by her sister and other heroes despite putting in all of the effort that she's putting in. And then by the end of the episode, she helped with the train situation, and it's through Swim asking to join her group that it feels like she kind of starts to overcome her depression, her funk that she fell into, and is able to kind of move past that to understand that, she may not be getting the recognition in the newspapers, but obviously the people that she's helped know who she is and obviously are inspired by her, Swim being the example. And that's worth 3 points, bringing this to a 5 out of 10 episode. So our mostly objective rankings so far, we have Road to Hero in first, The Sisters Who Have Too Many Things Happening, this episode is second, The Ninja Who Is Too Complicated, Bang Who Is Too Overbearing, A Shadow That Snuck Up Too Close, and then in sixth is The Pupil Who Is an Extremely Poor Talker. For my personal ranking, I enjoyed this episode. Like I've been saying, if you're not going to go hard on the comedy, at least go have some action taking place. And I felt like this episode actually kind of managed both to a certain degree. While the train was like going into the city, it was like very serious. Obviously, the people on the train start panicking, but Fubuki is able to save them all with her Esper abilities by gently removing them from the train while the train continues to speed on. She's also able to consider what she might do to try to mitigate the bomb's effects. However, she doesn't have to because Tatsumaki shows up. But we also get some character development of Fubuki and Fubuki as a character. We also did get a little bit of comedic elements in Genos trying to stop the train, having zero effect, even at the point where he like blows his shirt off while like these big giant like rocket engines come out the back of his back. Yeah, come out of his back, and like he's trying to like, jet propel the opposite direction, but again making absolutely no difference. and then he starts he starts to think he's made a difference when the train starts to slow. However, that was just Tatsumaki, and then as soon as he starts to think, hey, finally, he's thrown aside by Tatsumaki, who then just throws the train into the atmosphere. I also really enjoyed the ending with Genos asking Dr. Kusuno to give him psychic powers because the lack of psychic powers made him fail at doing the groceries. And just the fact that it's like, not that he failed to save the train, not that he failed to slow it down, but that he wasn't able to bring the crabs back home for dinner to Saitama, that has him like devastated and needing psychic powers. And then of course just Saitama sitting there like, why is Genos late? Not realizing this whole episode had happened. I thought that ending was really great and funny. And then the action with the character growth and with the trying to stop the train, I thought that was all interesting. But I'd still only think that it was an average episode overall. And that is why I decided to only give it a 5 out of 10. I agree with the objective ranking in this case. I think that it had a lot of good points, but it's still, there are a lot of episodes that were better throughout the other seasons. And while I think it used the time that it was allotted very well, a lot of the episode was Fubuki like moving people off of the train because that took a while to show. So ultimately, I thought average 5 out of 10 was fair. And so our list is A Shadow That Snuck Up Too Close, Road to Hero, The Sisters Who Have Too Many Things Happening is in third place. Then The Pupil Who is an extremely poor talker, Bang who is too overbearing, and then in sixth we have The Ninja Who is too complicated. Bringing us now to our series ranking so far. And in first, we have season 1 with 88.33%, season 2 with 74.17%, and the Ovas so far have 23 out of 130 on the mostly objective side. On the personal side, season 1's in first place with 76.67%, season 2 with 65.83%, and then the Ovas so far have a score of 29 out of 130. And with that, we've now rewatched and ranked One Punch Man Ova episode 6, The Sisters Who Have Too Many Things Happening. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you in the next episode.